and thank you for putting this Kubeflow together. Few words about myself. You can go to the next slide. So I'm Denis, tech lead on the ML platform at Roblox. You can see our fun logo over there on the screen. I know people like fun facts, so here is a couple about me. Actually, my wife questioned the fact that they are fun, but anyway. On the last 7 years, I built 2.5 ML platform and auto ML platform. Why 2.5? Because 7 years ago, there were barely no ML ops and ML platform. And to be honest, it was not necessarily complete, so I'm only claiming half of that one. And a more relevant one for today is I actually joined the Kubeflow Google group in January 2018, which makes me one of the first members of that community and a fan since day one. Next slide. So for today, I'm going to talk about ML at Roblox, the strategy that we put in place 2 years ago to build this ML platform from scratch, how we use user feedback to define our vision and organize for success, why we pick Kubeflow, and what we are making on top of Kubeflow to be ready for Roblox. I'm going to touch on what we are working on next and future plan. Next slide, please. But before we dig into the ML platform, I want to give you words about Roblox and what we are actually doing. So Roblox builds the tools and platforms that empower people to build immersive experiences. So you may not know that we actually don't build games ourselves. And so as of June, we have 12 million creators that build 30 million experiences. And then we need to present those 30 million experiences to our 15 million plus daily active users. And so those million of users will enjoy the experience, hopefully, but also like interact with each other, socialize and make friends if they are not already friends on the platform. They will also spend quite some time tuning their avatar and maybe spend Robux on the platform or virtual money to buy the best outfit for their avatar. And so as you can start to imagine, a lot today, but even more in the future, are actually powered with AI application. So chat filtering, fraud detection, bot detection, economy, all of that are already powered by ML. Next slide, please. But if we take a deeper look at use cases that we already support on our ML platform today, well, one of my favorites is video to animation. That's where a creator can send a video of themselves moving and dancing, and then we return back an animation that they can next apply to their avatar or make it available to other creators. Well, friend recommendation, experience recommendation are like typical ML workload for a social or an entertainment platform. And the last one that I want to mention is creator marketplace ratings. So in addition to experiences, a creator can build items and that can then be sold or used by other creators so they can bring them to their own experiences. And so one of the big things that we need to do is actually rate and make those items relevant for others. All right, next slide. So now that you're more familiar with Roblox, I can talk about our ML platform. So that's the strategy that we put in place. I'm going to be fast because I'm saying it's fairly standard. So you start with your why. Why do you need an ML platform? So first you need to talk to your user, understand what their pain points are, understand what their current organization are, what do they want to keep, what they want to change. You also want to make sure that your organization's culture stays the same, meaning does team are self-organized or are they used to a set of tools for company-wide tools that they are used to use. And the last one is, well, if you start an ML platform today, but that was already the case 2 years ago when we started. You're not the first one who built an ML platform, and so you can take a look at industry leaders and learn what they are doing and avoid the same mistake. So then once you have an answer for all your questions, you define your vision. So what is important for you? What will be your mission and the North Star that you want to follow? And then you organize for success. So you put in place a team structure and some sort of high level, and I mean like really high level architecture diagram. Just a set of services and components that would be the foundation of your platform. Well, and then you need a solution. So you look at what is out there. For today, I'm not going to focus on market analysis and build just buy. That can be a talk on its own. But yeah, you pick a solution and then you close the loop by delivering and drive adoption. And then it's it's an ongoing process. You might have more users on the platform, more prospect. The organization might shift a bit, and so you need to adapt and reiterate. The cycle might get shorter on the next iteration, or you want to be like more agile and only bring a subset of new features. But I think the general idea stays the same. Next slide, please. So let's see how we apply that strategy for us. So starting with why. I'm not going to talk about industry leaders. I think there's thousands of blogs out there if you want to read those. I'm going to focus on our user. And those are actually fairly common feedback. For one, we had some people coming to us say, I'm new to the company, or my team doesn't have ML before. How do I start? How do I access data? How do I train a model? Other will be, I'm using TensorFlow, PyTorch, you name it, we heard it. And so there is a lot of tools out there. And the last one, we actually heard it quite a lot. We do have a lot of data scientists build a model and they don't know how to put it in production. We have a microservice organization and system in Roblox, but they are using tools that data scientists don't know how to use. All right, so we get all those feedback. Next slide, please. And that's help us define the vision. So you heard it. We have like different framework that people are using. So we need flexibility. You heard some numbers. We have scalability issue, and so we want to hide that from our customer. But for today, I want to focus on actually what drives us. If you can put the next slide. Which is how you go from one idea to production in days or less, and how we democratize ML at Roblox. So the goal of our team is to provide what we call a golden path. So some sort of go-to toolbox with modular component that people can use. So it doesn't matter where you are in your ML journey, you can take another road, but there is always a way to come back to the golden path and deliver as fast as possible in production. Next slide, please. And so how we organize for success. So again, we need framework agnostic tools for training, but also for model serving. We need a scalable compute infrastructure, and we want a central dashboard. The central dashboard is more to be able to answer those I don't know how to start question. All right, let's see the next one. Well, I'm here today, so we already know what solution we picked. So we went with Kubeflow, obviously, and it solved most of the issue that I was talking about. So the scaling computing infrastructure with Kubernetes, we can deploy it on-prem or on cloud, and we get this central dashboard, and an orchestration for automation. But what I want to mention here is actually like two points. So one is Kubeflow is open source. And so with the hypergrowth that we have at Roblox, I expect that the number of data scientists and ML engineers at Roblox are, well, we grow faster than any other roles in the next coming years. And so we need something that's not a contract from a vendor that will be based on what we use or the compute that we are going to use in the next year. We already have our cloud provider for that, so let's keep it this way. The other thing that I want to mention is a Kubeflow community. You give some number, Josh. I think we can do better, but let's not forget that it's pretty much one of the largest community around ML tools and so on. So we want to leverage that as much as possible. Next slide, please. All right, so going back to our strategy, we have the solution. Now we want to deliver, and so we are going to take a look at what we did for Kubeflow. It's not necessarily specific to Kubeflow actually. I mean, not what we are doing, but no matter what solution you pick, if you want to put that in an enterprise world, you always have to like adapt and bring some stuff on top of it. So I'm gonna see what we did for Kubeflow. Can you go to the next slide? All right. We know that Kubeflow has some steep learning curve, and the documentation is not as great as we would like, to put it nicely. So we will build a central dashboard on top of it. So it's a set of links to our documentation and tutorials and fact, again, to be able to answer those, how to get started and how to provide this golden path for our user. And so, yes, we do have our own documentation. So you see a lot of tutorials, how to create a notebook server with some pipeline 101, how to create inference service and put it to production, but also some other details tutorials like how to create a Docker image, or how to put alerting on your pipeline. Next slide, please. Again, if you look at the Kubeflow documentation, I take a look again this yesterday. There's a bunch of kubectl command in the documentation, and I can tell you that our user has no idea what kubectl is. The other part is, even if you put aside those kubectl command, you still have to build a YAML file with your Kubernetes manifest. And again, they don't know what a Kubernetes manifest is. So what we build is a Python package to help them get started. So one of the things that our Python package provides is one way to go from your Python script to a Kubeflow pipeline. So you can see on the screen, you import our Roblox ML package. You have your regular Python function, and you just add some decorators on top of it with the step, a name for your step, same thing for your pipeline, what you like, how to describe and put a name for your experimentation, and we take care of the rest. Next slide, please. Another thing that we have for pipeline is how to set resource requests, and so we do have some configuration around it. And so in one pipeline, you can have different steps using different hardware and resources. Another thing that we put in place is notification. If you can show the next slide. So again, same thing as Aurora. We can set Slack notification on your pipeline, either it's successful or not, and you can actually put this notification on every single step. Next slide, please. There's a couple of other things that we provide in this Python package specifically for pipeline, like how to do distributed training and the ability to actually run this pipeline locally on your notebook server so you can debug easily. But the last thing that I want to mention is how to bring the inference service on the pipeline as well. So you can have this end-to-end pipeline where you prepare the data, you train, and then you serve it in an automated fashion. But that's not the only thing that our Python package provides. One of the big things around ML is how you experiment faster. And so on the left side of the screen, you can see our experiment tracking utility. So you, with a couple of lines on your pipeline, you can add experiment tracking. And that's what will bring that is on the regular visualization tab of your pipeline, of your step. You can actually see all the resources consumption, how much you use in average, the max, mean, and so that help our user to refine those requests. On the left side, with again the same Python package, you can create a tensor board automatically, so you don't have to go to the UI and link that to your training. And we actually like extend this tensor board capacity by bringing XGBoost logs format to as well. So that's one way for our user to debug quickly and support multiple model types using the same set of tools. Next slide, please. Right. Another thing that our user want to have is some like model endpoint for being able to serve online. So there's multiple ways to serve a model with Kubeflow. I'm going to focus on what we did, which is bringing the Triton server as a backend for Kserve. The main reason around that is to have this unified way to serve a model, so we only have to support one backend, that's it. And so with that in mind, we simplify the inference service YAML with this 8 line of configuration. Actually, you don't need the resource request and you don't need the replica information. You can just start with my model name and where is my model in our model registry. And on the right side, you can see a graph and a dashboard that we also put together. So our user can put their model in production and go to this graph and a dashboard to understand what is the QPS, if there's any issue, any logs, and take a look at that. Next slide, please. Sorry. All right, so we're good. We have a set of tools for our user to make it, but that doesn't help us as an ML platform team to actually operate. And so that's the other thing that just was mentioning on this survey. If you can go back to the next, go to the next slide. So one thing that we have is a Kubeflow profile controller. And so this controller helps us to create profiles, set permission, and create service account for external access. And we use this manifest on our Git repository and use Argo CD for reconciliation. So we can have like active environment and active passive environment and have the same set of user and permission over there. Next, please. Another thing that we need with our scale and number of users that we have is a way to understand our user usage. So one thing is obviously is the cost. Putting a model in production is fun, but it has to be some business value. And so we want our user to take the cost of the infrastructure in mind whenever they do that. Another thing is around efficiency. I mean, spending money is fine if you have a business case, but being efficient is something that we always have in our radar. And so we have some other tools around that in a per namespace, so we can go back to our user again, saying, show them the resource consumption that they have. So basically how much resource they use compared to how much they request. And so they can, again, refine what they do there. And we do have some dashboard, same as Aura with daily active user and monthly active user. Same, we have a peak in during summer for all the internet that we have. And again, a user dashboard where they can see how much they use. Next slide, please. And we have even more operation and monitoring tools that I'm not going to mention there, but it's mostly around accessing data in a secure way, and some proxies that we have on top of that. And some other tool like a cluster autoscaler or NVIDIA GPU operator, which are fairly common add-ons. Next slide, please. So what's the takeaway from that? So again, Josh already talked about it. You have a whole speech on that, so I can be faster. But that's pretty much the same result here. We do see gaps on the documentation and how we can make Kubeflow easier to use. But there is also a gap on the operation side. We can't imagine putting Kubeflow in an enterprise world where you have a model in production and you don't have the monitoring around it. And so I'm pretty sure that, well, we know that we are not alone in this in the journey here. And so the question for the community is how much we can actually leverage from all those tools and put that back to the community. And we are happy to help if needs be. Next slide, please. All right, I'm going to finish with our future plan. So we're going to work on the Chair ML platform. So depending on the data requirements, latency requirements, we want to be able to abstract that from our user and being able to deploy the model on device, on the edge, or in our data center, depending on, again, on the use case. Well, real-time workload is also important to us. It's basically how we bring all this near real-time information back to our model. And game ranking is definitely one of the use cases that we have in mind for that, and game recommendation. ML explainability as well is something that we have in mind. One of the questions that often our people are asking is, why do this particular model make that prediction, especially around recommendation? And so we want to, as an ML platform and a generic one, want to be able to answer that for our customer. And next one is disaster recovery. We have a lot of modeling production. We can't be down, and so how we put a disaster recovery and bring that to the community as well. Another one is feature sharing. So there's a lot of data. We want to make sure that there is no duplication of work. How we put feature together and accelerate whenever you need to have a new feature for your model. And the last one is distributed training. We do have distributed training with GPU and everything, but the scale is so large that we need even more compute on that and then being more efficient. And that's it for today. Thank you again for putting that together. And thank you for the ML team that tell me bring that slide deck. Is there any questions?
We are a few minutes over time, but it's okay. No, it's not your fault. We were running late.
So how long have you used Kubeflow? Like, when did you start approximately?
So we started, so the whole ML strategy started 2 years ago, pretty much. So we spent some time talking to our user, couple of months to try different solutions. I mean, I didn't bring that today because I didn't want to mention all the solutions that exist out there, but we spent quite some time evaluating all those tools. We actually delivered the first version, I would say, October last year. So it's been 1 year that it's being used by user in a production way, meaning like notebook server and everything. And it took, to build all those tools that you see, pretty much 6 additional months before we actually put something in production with the model serving and monitoring and all of that, like production already. So the whole ML journey from August 2020 to May 2022. So 1 year and a half to put something in production. From scratch.
I'm curious, do you use Argo CD to sync the rest of
No, we don't. We would love to, but yeah, it's not necessarily compatible with the rest of the platform. So only for a set of
Are you actually syncing the profiles from another system, like I guess another LDAP or group system? And create the profile,
so,
and then,
yeah,
or is
so
it like
we have Okta as an IDC provider, but the way we are doing it is so we disable the Kubeflow profile thing, so it does not automatically create profile for us. Everything has access to the platform, but we are in charge of creating the profile for us, and so that's why we have this Git repo, so they can ask a request for us. We create a PR, it's been approved by someone else, and then that brings us to the Kubeflow profile.
And this will be, we have time for one last question. So whoever had their hand up first.
Lady first.
Thank you. But am I a lady?
Yeah.
So ease of use, that seems to come up as a common theme. I'm curious about the on-ramping of new users into the platform. Is there anything your team is doing specifically to like get new users like with their first pipeline or model stood up? Yeah, that's basically the main one, actually. What does that process kind of look like for onboarding new users into your current like ML platform?
Yeah. So first thing first, they have to like put a request to get access to the Kubeflow dashboard. And I didn't talk about that, but we move on that organize for success. It's like a team structure stuff that I was talking about. And so we have some people dedicated to onboard other users and use cases. And so they're taking account whatever requirement they might have. There's again like a huge documentation on how to get started. I believe that we have some users that started without us knowing it.
And just a quick follow-up. In terms of the composition of your main key stakeholders or users, are they more on the engineering side or are they more on the research side, or do you find they tend to be a blend of research and engineering?
I would say it's about like 60-40. So 60% would be like data scientists. They will use the platform for like notebook server, getting access to data in a secure way and like analyze what's going on. And pretty much like 40% are product team, like they create user-facing features and create model and training and all that. So yeah, that's pretty much it. So the split. We have around 120 monthly active users today. Right.
Thank you. We now have